I'm setting a header with the key accept and the value application JSON. I'm doing the same thing for the content type. Now, what those two things do, let's just real quick go over. So when I set the accept header, what that's telling me is it's actually telling the server, here's what you should give me back. All right, this is our sort of our language that we're communicating with. And then the content type says, when I send you data, here's how that data is going to be formatted. This is how I'm going to give you that data. So the two things I need to be able to do. You don't have to do both. Like you could say, I'm going to send you XML, but you give me back JSON. It probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it might. You could say, I'm going to send you URL encoded data. So form data, which would essentially be the same type of thing you get from a form post. And then you could expect back JSON, which actually might be interesting if you're building certain types of forms that will, AJAX type posts. Although we'll get into that maybe a little bit later, because I don't think it's really that necessary. But so this, and the header method there actually comes from rack test. So if you're doing any sort of testing for Rails apps, essentially the first line of attack for testing is to use rack test. It's built in to the Rails app, especially in 3.1. It's actually built in so it's all of the methods are available directly in Cucumber. You don't even need to add anything. And we use those methods essentially to set up the state of rack and to send data in, and then when you'll see in just a minute how we actually do the sending. But this is setting up headers that we're going to send in on the request. So, next part of the step. So I send a post request to /cards with the following. So this tells me the HTTP method that's going to be used. All right, and it also tells me what the path, essentially the root path is going to be to get into this resource. Okay, and this particular resource is an address card. Now that implementation is even easier. Again, because of rack test gives us